You're running hard, training consistently, and doing everything right, but your pace isn't improving. And as a result, you're feeling tired all the time and you're not getting fitter. The reason might surprise you, and in this video, I'm going to try to explain to you why that happens and what you can do to start improving again. Many runners often do the same effort every run, and that's too fast to recover from and build up volume in a sustainable way. But it's also too slow to really work on your speed capabilities efficiently. And this is often the case when you're training in the gray zone and you just end up feeling tired, maybe start developing little injuries, and maybe running just isn't as enjoyable as it used to be. This is where the energy systems come into play. The human body uses ATP, that's adenosine triphosphate, as its energy source. And think of ATP as the currency of energy that your body has to run and to move, just function. And there are three energy systems, three ways that your body can produce ATP. And these are the phosphocreatine system, the anaerobic system, and the aerobic system. The phosphocreatine system uses phosphocreatine or creatine phosphate to produce ATP, to produce energy. And it's only used in situations where you're moving at maximal intensity. So when you're jumping or sprinting, think of any short bursts of energy. And it's only usable for about 8 to 10 seconds of moving at maximal intensity. That's why when you start sprinting, you will get tired pretty fast. So it's not really used in long distance running. At a slightly lower intensity, you're using the anaerobic system, which uses glycogen or carbs as its energy source. And when you're using the anaerobic system, you're definitely not able to talk when you move or when you run. And the intensity is still quite high. So there will be some side effects to this, like the mechanical load is quite high on your joints and your tendons. So you may start developing little injuries here and there, like sore Achilles tendons, which is something I've struggled a lot with in my past. Your body will also start producing lactic acid as a byproduct, which will cause you to feel tired, maybe even chronically. And this is exactly what training in the gray zone looks like. It feels like you're training hard and you're pushing all the time, which you are, but it's not really doing much for you because you're training at the lower end of the anaerobic system. You only really want to train in the anaerobic system for short durations and then at the higher end of the anaerobic system. And this is what you do with workouts like intervals or threshold runs. At the lowest level of intensity, you're using the aerobic system, which uses mainly fats and carbs to produce ATP, to produce energy. And because the aerobic system is at a low intensity, there's not much mechanical stress and there are no byproducts like lactic acid. You will recover very fast and you can easily accumulate a lot of training volume using the aerobic system. So that's why most of your training should be built around using the aerobic system. This leads us to polarized training, which is what many athletes, both pro and recreational athletes, use to improve their running sustainably, to have fun, get the most out of it, stay injury-free. And it's when about 80% of your runs use the aerobic system. So your running pace is nice and easy. There's little to no mechanical stress on your body. There's no lactic acid. The remaining 20% of your runs is using the anaerobic system, or maybe even pushing into the phosphocreatine system sometimes. So you're using the higher end of that spectrum to really push yourself I remember in my youth when I was training for a fast 10K, and I had no idea about these training principles, so I was always pushing hard in training, but I was only getting injured. I remember having sore Achilles tendons, and yeah, I never made much progress. It was only after I started studying sports science that I started applying polarized training for myself and really started improving in a sustainable way, started breaking my own PRs and really enjoying my running these days, both my long, slow runs and also when it's time to push hard. And I've been injury-free for many years now. If you want to run faster, stop feeling fatigued, recover well, and remain injury-free, then stop training in the middle zone. Remember, slow runs build your base. Most of your runs should be using the aerobic system. And when it's time to push, then push hard. But that should only be a small part of your training. If you need help with this, check out the Elaborate Runners community. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.